All right. Hello and good morning, Keller Williams, Greater Metropolitan. That's right, Andrew. I do mean business. The blazer's off. The sleeves are rolled up. It's March. We know that March means that we are standing on the edge of market. And it looks like we're gonna, the weather's pointing in the direction of spring, and hopefully inventory will follow. We'll be talking a little bit more about that in some ways, some trainings that are coming up in our office, and some opportunities for you to sharpen the saw so that you can take advantage of what's coming in the next 90 days. The getting is going to be good, but we're going to need to make sure that you have everything you need to get it. But that's not the point of today's sales meeting. Today's sales meeting, we are going to have a very exciting conversation and talk a little bit about women in real estate to kick off Women's History Month. So we've got a couple special guests that I'll be introducing you to in just a couple minutes. But first, we want to dive in, and we're going to start today's session as we have for the last one. With a little conversation about the 6 personal perspectives. So the 6 personal perspectives, for those of you who don't know or maybe aren't terribly familiar with them, are 6 core beliefs that were born out of conversations that our founder and CEO, Gary Keller, had when writing the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. And he found that these were 6 perspectives held by millionaire real estate agents. And so every week for the next several weeks, we're going to go through one of these. Personal perspective number 2 is my personal favorite. It is the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle. And so it gets its name, Pareto principle, by an Italian economist and pea farmer named Vincenzo Pareto. And what he found was 80% of the yield from his pea farms came from 20% of the pea pods, right? Came from 20% of his acreage. And then he looked at where wealth was held and where land was held throughout Italy, and it followed the same pattern. And a lot of organizational and operational scientists explore the relevance of the 80-20 principle in all fields. And there is none that it may apply to more than the field of real estate. So we know that there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of things. Actually, the MREA gives us 176 different tasks that a realtor might be asked to or might have to complete during a real estate transaction or while running their real estate business. And not all tasks are created equal. It's very important that we focus on the 20% of tasks that drive 80% of our results, right? What are the 20%? What's the mighty few things that if we did, and we did at a very high level, our business would grow, our listings would grow, our opportunities to win in multiples would grow. What are those things? And when we identify other things that we have to do or that we're asked to do, we either deprioritize those, we time block for them at a later date, or we seek leverage. Right? When we have an abundance of tasks that we know fall outside of our 20%, we go seek leverage in the form of systems, technology, or people. So when you look at your week, pull out your calendar and think about, what am I spending my time doing? Is this in my 20%? Right? How did I spend last week? How did I spend last month? Right? Is that in my 20%? Was I in my 20% to drive my 80%? Or was I tweaking my marketing? Was I updating my website? Was I, sitting in the call booth thinking about who I was going to call, right? That's definitely not even, that should be nowhere in any percent, right? But think about that and identify what are the things in your life, in your world, that are going to drive your 80%. All right, and then also a touch on our beliefs. This week, I want to talk a little bit about teamwork. Together, everyone achieves more. With the theme of our last sales meeting, as we explored opportunities with the Realtors Association and our very own Black Realtor Network here at Keller Williams Greater Metropolitan. And then this week, we're talking to members of the Women's Council of Realtors, as well as our very own Debbie Garson. Hi, Debbie. Talking about her career in real estate and her role as one of the first female brokers in Ohio. And teamwork stands out. 1908, the National Association of Realtors was 100% male and 100% white. And now today we have a diverse, robust population of realtors who are operating at the highest level as fiduciaries, helping people manage the largest asset that 99% of our population is ever going to own. And so the power that we have as realtors to impact communities, to impact lives, and to really change the landscape of the places that we live and that our clients live. The idea that we're all in this together, the co and co-broke stands for cooperating, not competing, is a good reminder. And that comes with all race, gender, color, creed, sexual orientation, you name it, we're all in it together to help our clients. So a good reminder of that this week. And now let's dive in and talk about what's coming up in March. But first, we're hiring. So thank you all. We've gotten a ton of great referrals from our agents for the open positions that we are hiring, which include our assistant market center administrator and then our receptionist role in the Rocky River office. We are very, very thankful, so appreciative, and so grateful that you as our agents and as our partners have helped us identify some tremendous candidates. If you think of anybody still, we as you know, your pipeline can never be full enough. And so we have on the horizon some opportunities that we will explore as it relates to expanding our staff and leadership team even more. So keep the referrals coming, guys, and you'll hear more about what shape your organization is taking on in the coming months. So speaking of coming months, here's the training calendar for March. So this is going to be hot off the presses and hitting inboxes this day, today. And so we have a ton of great stuff. I'll call out a few specific things. You're getting all this later today, but I'm just going to go right to what we have this Friday. We have the reins of the reverse book club have been relinquished, and one of our ALC members and absolutely outstanding agent, Sophie Bolin, is going to be leading our reverse book club this Friday. And so she put together a little promo vid for everybody. Let's see if I can get this to work.
What's the one lesson you need to know if you want to be wealthy? Join me next week during Reverse Book Club when I discuss Rich Dad, Poor Dad and find out.
All right. So for those of you who were at our Your First Investment training in a few weeks ago, Mike Arco referenced a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and said it changed his life. It said it led him into investing. It helped him understand at a higher level the way money works and how to invest. So Sophie took that, read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and will be breaking down her top takeaways as an agent, a team owner, and an investor as she explores that book for all of you. Remember, Reverse Book Club, we read it so you don't have to. And then on Monday, March 7th, so just 6 days away, our Investor Mastermind is gonna rally in the Rocky River office at 11 a.m., third floor training room. And we're gonna do a case study with the leader of our investor mastermind, Wendy, and her husband, David, who have an entire company and have flipped hundreds of homes. And they're going to walk through the identification, the assessment, the acquisition, the funding, the contracting, the leaning, the noting, and then ultimately the final part, the fun part, the profitability of the flip. And so this will be an end-to-end case study using their most recent flip. And it'll be fantastic. So limited number of seats. Hop in and grab one if you can be there. We want to make sure that this is being utilized by the folks who are in the best position or who have this as a piece of their financial puzzle. So if you are blown away by Sophie Boland's rendition of Rich Dad Poor Dad next week, on Friday, on Monday you can get into a conversation about how to implement some strategies around investing. This one being how to do a flip. And then do not miss out on the opportunity to help us be in business with more and better people, right? We have been having a great start to our career nights, so much so that we decided to add another one. So on Monday, March 14th, we'll host in Pepper Pike. That will also be on Zoom, and then also in Rocky River on March 28th. So don't be afraid to ask people to cross town or hop on Zoom. And we want to make sure we are providing an opportunity and an environment that we can reach the most people. We have an exciting year ahead. We have welcomed a number of tremendous agents already. Thanks to you. In the time that I spend with other team leaders and other leaders in this company, when I tell them that 7 out of 10 agents that join our office join by way of referral from another agent in our office, that means that we're growing this thing inside out, and every person that joins strengthens our culture. And that is so impactful. And then we talked about this 2 weeks ago, last time we were together. Our Black Realtor Network is having a meet and greet on March 18th. That is the second big day of March Madness. So we'll be getting together at the Roll House in Solon, connecting there, giving everyone an opportunity to see and be seen and plug in with other agents in that network. So great networking opportunity there. And then, of course, as always, if you've missed anything, folks, please don't hesitate to reach out or to pop onto our YouTube channel and check it out. Check out anything. All of our trainings for the last 24 months have shown up there. And so anything that you've missed in the last couple of years, you can have access to. All right, so let's throw it over to the partners. We now have, we'll start with our squad from Cross Country Mortgage. I've seen a lot of you all popping on here. So Sean, take it away, mon frere.
Morning, everybody. So happy March. We got 2 months behind us, and March brings with us Fed meeting in about 2 weeks. So this has been long awaited. Just to refresh your memories, Fed's going to bump the interest rate anywhere from 1/4 to 0.5%, looking more like 1/4 right now. That upward pressure of interest rates we've seen over the last 60 days plus is pretty much with this kind of being on the horizon. What's happening in Ukraine is impacting financial markets. For the moment, in the short term at least, it's not hurting interest rates, but the longer all this goes on, it likely will, just with oil prices and all other things being impacted. But 30-year fixed, still historically great, just certainly up from where we've been used to for 2020 and 2021. When I want to chat on here today, and I think Don will probably add a little color too as far as personal experience, but you may have heard of us talk about our fast track approval. I'm going to drop a flyer into the chat box. But we have, oftentimes over the phone, we do a quick pre-qualification, says, yep, sounds like this buyer is going to be able to buy a house. It's as much giving information back to the buyer as it is getting information from them. Then there's the common pre-approval, which, you see our pre-approval letters come by all the time. Sometimes it's in a matter of hours, we're putting together. Sometimes if it's a little bit more of a deep dive or complex, it might take a couple of days. And then we also have we call our fast track approval. This is where a file is being sent to underwriting. It's going through the processing stage, it's going through underwriting. These take usually several days, sometimes a week or longer, depending on the situation. So where this comes into play is if you've got a buyer who, we're not 100% sure we can make the deal, so we want to run it by underwriting. So this is one way about going about it. Or you just want to strengthen the offer, having that sort of fully underwritten pre-approval might be able to make a difference from the seller's viewpoint of how a buyer is. And kind of the risk involved with accepting an offer. So Don, Chris, myself would happily assist you with that. Can chat more about that if you're interested. But Don, go ahead.
Yeah, just that fast track approval. I know myself, I'm making going forward. I'm trying to send every pre-approval opportunity I get through that, so that we do have a fully underwritten approval supplied to you, the realtor. Another cool little tool that we have is Sean. I didn't tell Sean I was going to mention this, but with the way offers being presented today and having to go 9 out of 10 deals going over list price, we have a cool little tool that if we could get the property address, get the price you're going in at, and then we could plug in numbers, if you want to go 25, 30, 40,000 over list price to get ridiculous there, we could plug in those numbers into a little tool that we have, and it'll give us an idea of when that borrower will recoup that money over a period of time due to appreciation. What it does, it looks at analytics of history going back 60 years for that particular zip code, that particular area of what appreciation is. So it'll give that borrower a good idea of how soon they can recoup that money that they've offered over list price. So if you're in a situation like that, shoot an address to Sean, myself, or Chris, and let us plug that into our little tool, and we'll put a nice little report together for you.
Thanks, everyone.
That is awesome. I am going to be loading you up with addresses just to see how that thing works and analyze some data. So that is very, very cool, guys. As we know, inventory is very low, and part of what we're doing is understanding the motivation of our buyers, helping them find their way into the home that they need. And sometimes, we talked about it on our trend graphics session yesterday. Your high C's, your highly analytical people, your people who maybe haven't bought or sold in a couple decades, them wrapping their heads around this idea of paying over asking price, not getting a deal, how that all comes together so that they can make that decision if it's the best one for them. Really important. So thank you, Sean and Don, for putting another tool in our tool belt. All right, Greater Metropolitan Title and Escrow. How we doing?
Good morning, everyone. Today I am going to be talking about funds for both the buyer and the seller. That way, when you guys are doing your buyer and seller consultation, they will know what to expect straight from the jump. For the buyer, when they do wire their proceeds at the end of closing, just let you know, if it is anything that they need to bring under $1,000, that could be a personal check. $1,000 to $10,000 could be a cashier's check, and by Ohio law, anything over $10,000 must be wired. We do send them wiring instructions, as well as when we send out the first email that they get from us, that information is also on there as well, if you guys want to refer back to it. And then for the sellers, when we are distributing their proceeds, if we are wiring it to an account, especially for entities, LLCs, trusts, estate, we have to wire it to an account with that, the trust name, the estate name, or the LLC name. We cannot wire it to a personal account, just let you know. So we are working on recreating this in a flyer too. We will send it to Julia, and that way, if you guys want to print that out and bring it to your consultations, that might be helpful for the buyers and sellers. Are there any questions on that?
That is a good reminder, as earnest money, increasing the earnest money can be a strong strategy and making your offer more valid. So knowing how exactly it has to happen is important. And yeah, go ahead and drop that flyer in the chat box, throw it in the Facebook group. And to everybody on the call, if you have not given GM Title a try, or if it's been a while, because of our partnership with them and our relationship with them, we are constantly improving our processes, taking feedback, retooling, streamlining, and finding new and better ways to serve agents. The only way that we keep that flywheel spinning and we make our way towards the best title experience for you and your clients is if you continue to use them, continue to engage, and continue to provide feedback. Incredibly impactful. And Jade, thank you and the rest of the GM Title team for being so responsive, adaptive, and finding ways for us to better serve our agents and their clients.
Of course. Thank you.
All right. And speaking of people who serve our agents and our clients, Miss Gina La Garza, welcome back to the party. It's good
morning.
to
Good morning.
on the call.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. You know, when we talk about what a tough market this is, just want to bring out, and I'll make sure this is available in the chat. Hopefully my technology, I can be technology savvy this morning, Michael, but our door hangers, these are a great way to help get more listings. They're COVID friendly. You hang them on the door, you put your business card, and it basically says, if I get your listing, I will pay for your home warranty. It's RESPA compliant. It's a great way to increase your listings and get more listings. Agents utilizing this tool got 7 more listings last year. Another tool to help you with your business is every time that you put a home warranty on, my staff sends out repair cards and they send out thank you cards. If you get a repair card, that means your client had a claim. Follow up, engage with your client. It's a touch point. How did that go? It usually says the amount that we took care of and the item. So you can, reach back out to your client. Agents utilizing this tool are actually getting more business. So in this tough market, we want to help you as your home warranty partner, not only get more listings, but maybe procure more buyers through our repair card. So this is only if you put a home warranty on and you get a digital repair card that says, your client had a claim, follow up. So these are just 2 tips in this market, just helping you get more business and helping you get your listings. So thanks, everybody. Looking forward to a great March with you.
Yes, a great month lies ahead and starts with a great day today. And that brings us to our panel this morning. I am going to stop my share and ask for some help spotlighting our 2 guests. Well, 1 guest and 1 local legend. Looks like Debbie. Debbie, are you at the beach? What's going on here?
I have a problem. I was trying to change my background, but I'm no longer in it. So I have to go back to, let me see what I can do here. I'm going to figure this out right now.
All right. Well, while you figure it out, we'll put you in the on deck circle, and we'll start with an introduction of our guest, Courtney Demarco, who is a very prevalent figure in the Northeast Ohio real estate game. And we are excited to have her join us today in her capacity as part of the leadership team for the Women's Council of Realtors. So why don't we start there? And I'm just going to bounce back and forth between you 2 with a couple of questions. But, Courtney, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your role with the Women's Council of Realtors, and just the Women's Council of Realtors in general.
Sure. So thank you for having me. I love to talk about Women's Council, especially during the month that we're in. And I think it's important when we talk about this group to really understand the history. So real estate itself has been organized for about 110 years. And by organized, I mean the National Association of Realtors. So that's known as NAR. So not everybody's a realtor. Your broker has to pay for you to be one. But under that umbrella of NAR, for those first 80 years, women were barred from access to the local realtor boards, just not allowed. Can you imagine this? So completely barred. And so they weren't able to sell real estate, or they were trying to sell real estate, but they were having a very hard time. And so years went by, and finally in 1938, there were 37 women from 9 different states who went to the NAR convention in Milwaukee, and they demanded that they would be able to form their own group known as the Women's Division. And in 1938, they were granted a women's division, which has now evolved from 1938 until now to over 10,000 members across the country. So a very, very strong network of the Women's Council of Realtors that was needed because they didn't have access. And for women in real estate, we know that women want to be able to provide for their family and also take care of their family without having to choose one or the other. And real estate gave them that ability. And it gave them the ability to have the same earning potential as men too, because a commission is a commission, right? So it's not just about earning though, it's about learning and growing and leadership skills and having that network. So what does that look like today? So where we sit today, obviously women are allowed, we're allowed everywhere, right? But it gives us this local group of people that we can be with. So I'll tell you this too. When I started with Women's Council several years ago, I think that they were actually on the verge of unchartering. So you have to have a certain amount of people in each network or in what used to be called a chapter to even have a chapter. And Northeast Ohio is very different because we have many different local realtor boards and we cover this really large sort of area. And so back then they used, oh, I have a Amazon delivery coming to my house. But back then they used to do what is called, I'm sorry, I have to do.
That's all right. Well, Debbie, we'll throw it over to you. Now that we've got the screen fixed, we got the sound issue on the other side. It's okay though. We like to roll with the punches here. So it was an interesting piece of history and perspective, but you know, folks will find it hard to believe, but how long have you been in real estate, Debbie?
So I was licensed in 1977. I was still in college. I was working and I decided I wanted my real estate license. One thing I realized very early on when I was sitting in accounting classes is that I did not want to sit behind a desk. I knew that. So I took a real estate class and thought, this is my direction. It was like I had an epiphany.
Mm-hmm. So from that time in the late 70s to now, what are some of the biggest changes you've seen for women in the industry in Northeast Ohio? You know, and just from an opportunity standpoint, what are some of the big changes that, you know, from an industry standpoint?
So, you know, back when I was getting started, it was women selling real estate. That's what it was. So, and I had a lot of mentors, but it was a lot of women who were in their, you know, their kids were teenagers and they wanted to do something for themselves. I was one of the very few young women in real estate. Today, I think the sky's the limit for young women. So, you know, and back then, I mean, I wore suits, navy suits with little rosette ties. And it was very conservative and it was a struggle for me also because, you know, I was competing against middle-aged women. And as one of my mentors said, why would somebody want to work with you when they can work with, you know, Donna Glazer or Joan Garfield or Joan Lefkowitz or those women? So I realized right out of the box that I needed to have something more. I needed to have, you know, my value proposition, which was, you know, knowledge is power. So I got my GRI designation, which, you know, I don't even know if that's around today, but that stood for Graduate Realtors Institute. So that was the first designation I got. And then I went on to get my CRS. I don't know if that's a big deal today, but that stands for Certified Residential Specialist. So, you know, I knew I needed knowledge. I knew I needed something that was, you know, above and beyond what these middle-aged women had.
Yeah. Well, I want to throw it back to Courtney on that. You got some head nods going there. We start talking about designations. As a women's council, they bring opportunities like that to agents that are in that network.
So we do, and Women's Council actually has our own designation. Only members of Women's Council of Realtors can get the Performance Management Network designation. But so I'm very familiar with designations. So those designations are definitely still around. But the whole goal of Women's Council is really to advance business leaders in our industry. And so it is here locally, but it's on a state level and on a national level. So our group here, what started off being sort of a hindrance and what was the beginning of crippling was the large amount of territory covered. And so Lake Geauga had their own group, Akron had their own group, Cleveland had their own, Medina had their own. And what happened was the groups were struggling. And so what we've done in recent years is took what was the biggest pain point and we made it our strength. Because now Women's Council of Realtors Northeast Ohio, we're actually the third largest network in the whole entire nation. So we went from being Cleveland, that was going to be dissolved, and Lake Geauga, which was dissolved, and Medina, which was about to be dissolved, and we've put them all together. And the strength is in the togetherness, but it's also the fact that there are girls in Medina that don't want to sell a house out in Lake County, so they can refer it to the member out in Lake County. And so referrals are a huge part of Women's Council, because if you have, our president, her son needed to buy a house in Washington. So she called one of the girls from Women's Council in Washington, and she knew that her son was in such good hands with that member out there. So you can go really big with it and actually earn part of your commission when you're referring out like that, or you can go locally with it and refer to people just in different parts of town, know that your business will be taken care of, and you can still have earning potential there as well when referring those things out. So the fact that it's a referral network for many is very huge, but it is also the leadership skills and the training and development that is available. And if you follow the Women's Council of Realtors, if you don't, I encourage you to follow our Facebook page, but we are known for some premier industry events. People like to get together and have events that are valuable, beneficial, but also a little bit of fun. And so one of our biggest events, and this one is not education based, it is more fun and networking based. It's called Dancing with the Realtors. We're the only one allowed to use that name, Realtors. But it is, we actually had someone from your market center won the last time we had it, Jen Waters from the young team. She was our first place winner. So this event is amazing. And I have to tell you, we had people, okay, it's sold out. We had people sneaking in, risking being arrested, sneaking in to get into this event because it's such a hype, amazing, fun event with just everybody, in the industry. So that's such a great fun one. But we're also very known, and this is one of the big things that we're known for. It's our leading ladies of real estate. And I have to always kind of put out there that this is not a participation awards award. It is a real award based on productivity. So we simply pull our roster and we look everybody up on the MLS, and then we send out the applications, and we know that there are some people that are on teams or some people that are team leaders. And sometimes there's properties that happen off of the MLS that we can't see. So we allow you to have those things given to your broker so that they can fill them out. And we do the top 25 of our roster. And each year that number of units goes up because our agents, our realtors are getting better and better. Yeah. And we have such great quality of people in this group that the number is not a low number to attain. It keeps going up every year. And so that's a great thing to see that growth and to see the celebration of that.
That is awesome. And I am headed down the hall right after this meeting to figure out why Jen Waters did not share with us that she was a champion dancer, and then we all could have supported and celebrated her. But I want to throw it back to Debbie based on one thing that you said. Debbie, there's a lot that is changed in real estate, and as Courtney pointed out, the numbers keep going up and up and up and up. What excites you about real estate the most today? In general and specifically for women from that perspective?
I think what excites me the most today is that the sky's the limit for women. So as I said before, we were just, women selling homes. And, I've often heard today, do you want to be just a person selling a home, or do you want to think outside the box? So, and being part of a bigger picture is such a big deal today. I see these young women who are parts of a team, and, my feeling is if I had that opportunity as a young person, I almost feel as if I'm, at this end of my career versus if I were starting out today, I would be part of a bigger picture. I think it's very important to be part of a bigger picture and to surround yourself with people who are knowledgeable and experienced. So I see young women today who possibly, the client wouldn't have worked with me at that age, but because they have this young woman and they know that behind that young woman is, a stronger, more experienced realtor, they're willing to take a chance on her. So her or him. Anyway, there's so many exciting things about real estate today. I think GPS is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I do. So the technology we have available today, when I think about the struggles I had, so I didn't have much business. So I would go every week and learn a new territory. So, I knew Pepper Pike like the palm of my hand. In fact, many years ago, I wrote an article for the Cleveland Magazine on Pepper Pike. So I know that there's a stop sign every half mile in Pepper Pike. So I know so many things. So I would learn everything about that area. And then I would go into Shaker and I would learn the Fernway, the Onaway, the Sussex, the, Lomond. I took my time to do that. People don't need to do that today. You have a GPS. Now you have to know the community. You have to know the services that are offered, but you have a GPS system. That's huge. So anyway.
That's the biggest upgrade. I love that.
Yeah.
And you're right. As a transplant to Cleveland, even here for several years now, it is sometimes it gets a little dicey, even with the GPS on some of those roundabouts. Excellent. So I want to let's stay with you for a second, Debbie, and then I want to bring it back to you, Courtney, as a second end of this question. But Debbie, you and I have talked before. You and what we said this morning: nobody succeeds alone, right? But mentors, support, people that were very influential in your career at specific times. Does anyone come to mind, or is there anyone that was really impactful, in your development or your decision to, make it a decades-long endeavor?
Yeah, so I've had so many mentors, but one of them is a man who is now 90 years old, whose name is Armin Guggenheim. And I went to work for Armin Guggenheim, and eventually he sold his company to what was then HGM Hilltop. But when I see the progress in today's real estate market, I think of Armin's demise. So he was growing horizontally. So he had an office in Cleveland Heights, an office in Pepper Pike, and then he mistakenly put Guggenheim Red Coach in Hudson. But so what he was trying to do is expand, open more offices versus growing vertically, which is to add ancillary services. So I think of that today. I think of young people today adding ancillary services to your business. I mean, we're a transaction-based business. So when I think about adding ancillary businesses or services, I think I'm good at decorating. So I took a staging class. Yep. And I became a certified stager, whatever that means. But I feel that I can offer that. You have to have something to just give you the edge. But let's get back to my mentors. So the office manager at that time was a man by the name of Pete Hecker. And I would go into the office every day like I was working a 9 to 5. I was there at 9 o'clock. I didn't have anything to do. So he would say, he reminded me every day that I need to have knowledge. Again, knowledge is power. So he's the one that got me involved to get my GRI and my CRS and to work toward my brokerage. And I did all that. And then when he sold his company to what was then HGM Hilltop, which became Realty One, I realized, the progression in that company, because they were providing all the ancillary services, the mortgages, the title companies, and that was back in the early 80s. So I had a lot of mentor. I needed a lot of people to believe in me. I was young.
Yeah. It's incredibly impactful. It's also amazing how far just a little bit of encouragement or the reminder to focus on knowledge or to think bigger or to think longer term can really shape opportunities for people. And let that be a lesson to all of us about the way that we treat ourselves and each other when we think about our businesses and our lives. But Courtney, I have to imagine that mentorship and networking, or with networking, of course, but mentorship's a big part of what the Women's Council of Realtor is doing for agents, young, old, and in between.
So that's absolutely correct. So those amazing leading ladies of real estate who win the awards, they'll be coming back here in March on the 23rd to be a part of a mastermind that we'll have. And so each one of our leading ladies will sit at a table with another group of our members, and we'll help them and mastermind with them and brainstorm with them to help them evolve and grow in their businesses. So we're very grateful to have people that are producing at such a high level and that they're so willing to give and share and pour into others. So absolutely, mentorship is definitely a part of it. And the same with the girls on the leadership. All of our leadership, what's known as our governing board, we have chairs and people that work with us and around us. And our whole goal is to help grow them and pour into them and share what we know with them so that they can be our next set of leaders.
That's terrific. And I imagine, I know for our company here, Keller Williams, Greater Metropolitan, it's a strength of ours, the openness, the sharing, the caring, the investing in one another. And I would imagine you're probably not the third largest branch of the Women's Council of Realtors because you keep secrets from each other, right? So that
Absolutely. And don't quote me on saying this, but if you look at our leading ladies, you will see that many of them are Keller Williams agents. So I don't know if there's something happening there, but
I noticed it. I wasn't going to bring it up. I didn't want to, but yes, I did see that. I believe 3 of the 4 or 4 of the 5, maybe, throughout Northeast Ohio, which is very exciting, and I think speaks to the culture and the values of the company. All right. Well, let me. I'll go to both of you with this last question, and I'll start with you, Debbie. What advice would you give to your younger self? What advice would you give to the college student that's getting their real estate degree that might have accelerated her path because you are incredibly successful, your business is remarkable, and the way that you serve your clients is with a gold standard. So you've obviously achieved a lot, but so maybe it's just do whatever you did. But what do you think? What is the advice you'd give her?
I would say start small, think big. So start locally, think globally. Don't be afraid to take a risk, and don't be afraid to be part of a bigger picture. So don't be afraid to be on a team. Again, I think my life, my career would have grown, I think, at a different level if I had been part of a team. We didn't have teams back then, but I think that there's so much more opportunity for young women today than there was back in the late 70s, early 80s. So much more opportunity. And don't be afraid of expansion. Don't just be a person selling a home. Think, be creative. So if you're a great baker, make sure that you take your favorite breads to your new client's home when you deliver their, add value proposition. That's what we talk about all the time, adding value proposition. So, I think that think big.
Think big. I love that.
Make sure, because we are so transaction based, make sure that you make yourself unforgettable and stay in touch.
Yeah. We'll be talking about that in the coming weeks. A lot of lessons learned, just about, the National Association of Realtors provides a lot of data around why people work with who they work with. And it is very relational. It's still, regardless of the efforts of technology to disintermediate, it is still an incredibly relational business. So investing in those relationships is so important. I mean, that's been the bellwether of many a career.
One of the things I do every year at Christmas is I send out Jenny's ice cream to
Love Jenny's.
all of my clients that have bought homes that year and anybody who has referred somebody to me. So it's everybody expects the Jenny's ice cream from Debbie Garson at Christmas. And it's not cheap. It's probably where I spend the most marketing dollars, but it's well worth it.
Yeah, well, I will have to scare up a referral for you soon so I can get on that list. All right, Courtney, same question to you, or maybe you can even frame it from the Women's Council of Realtors for you know, women entering the industry of any age. You know, what's the advice you give? What's the you know, what's the thing that they need to know or need to have in between their ears?
So I would say, even though this is such a relational business, to not take everything so personally. And especially for me, and I've had a lot of time to reflect on this, and I'm raising a 23-year-old who's now in the business. You can't take everything so personally, and it's not always about you. And that if people are calling you crazy, then you're probably on to something. You're getting ready to do the right thing. If they're not calling you crazy, then that's where maybe you should be worried, but not to take it personal and not to compare yourself to what other people have happening. Comparison is definitely the thief of joy. And what's happening on your page 1 and your chapter 1 is not going to be the same as what's happening in somebody else's chapter 52. And so, you know, looking forward, staying in your lane and working on what you need to work on and focusing on that without taking it all so personally. And it's easier said than done, but if you work on it, it can definitely happen.
Yeah, I love that. And another reason to you know, pay strong consideration to who you're in business with and who you spend your time with. The people that are building you up are the people you want to be around, right? And I know that that's what happens with the Women's Council of Realtors, and I know that's what happens here. And I'll just leave it up to you. Parting remarks from either of you. Courtney, I would love if you could drop anything in the chat box about where our agents could go get more information, where they could plug into those resources. And then Debbie, if you could drop your contact information in there as well. I know a lot of these folks, both men and women, could benefit from some of your tutelage and knowing you better. So I want to give them the opportunity to do that. But closing remarks, ladies?
Well, I'd like to say that, you know, you asked me about milestones. And when I think about milestones, I think of, you know, the GRI, the CRS, the broker's license, all of that. But the biggest milestone, I think, for me in my real estate career was the day I arrived at Keller Williams. And I realized, I mean, we don't compete with one another. We embrace each other. We share our knowledge. We are happy to, you know, to share. I mean, I think about Brian Young, who, you know, stood up at a meeting and was sharing his listing presentation. I just realized, you know, that I was with my former company was not progressive. And I think that there's a huge lesson in that for us realtors at Keller Williams. We have so much to be thankful for. I'm grateful every day that I'm with Keller Williams now, and I will stay here through the end of my career.
I love that. And we are grateful to have you. That's, you know, a beautiful thing about our culture is that when you come in and you plug in, is that, you know, and I know you do this, you immediately turn around and try to help somebody else.
Always.
So
I'm
wonderful.
always available.
I love that. Thank you so much. Courtney?
Okay, so we definitely want to help women take their careers in real estate to the next level. We also do want to help them focus in 3 main areas, and that's health, wealth, and self. So that will be our focus for this year. So I would invite any of you that would like to come to a meeting, especially the mastermind that we have coming up, to reach out. We'd love to have you there. We even got some free tickets available for some of the events that we have coming up, because we definitely want the opportunity to help improve our industry by connecting more ladies together. And please know that this is not a man hater club. We actually love men, and we love when they come around. They make things more fun. fun. And we do have some male members as well, and they definitely bring something really great to our network as well. And the truth is that the men, why would a man be a member? And that is because they're showing that they are a safe space for women and that they are there to encourage and help the ladies along as well. So we love our male members, although there's only like 1% of them across the country. They are a wonderful, rare group of men that are just
Say no
so
more. I'm
great
there.
and fun. So yeah, we've got you on our hit list. We would love to have you as our member because, you know, if you're our member, then we can utilize you and some of the valuable things that you have to offer, such as trainings and things like that. So we'd love to talk to you about that. Thank you so much.
We will. Thank you so much. And Courtney and Debbie. So excited to have had this conversation today and to be a part of everything that's happening in the world of real estate and supporting all of our agents in all ways, shapes, and forms. And, you know, plugging into networks and plugging into mentors is the best way to do it, in my opinion. And so thank you both for providing that to our agents today.
My pleasure.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
All
so
right.
much.
Thank you so
Guys,
much for having me.
Yes. Oh, any day of the week. Guys, it's March 1st. It's going to be a big month. It's going to kick off a big market. Let's go out and get it. If you need anything, please let me or any member of the leadership team know. We're here to put wind at your back.
We need listings.
I'll see what I can do. I'll scare for Jenny's ice cream. I'll do about anything.
Okay, everybody. Thanks so much.
See you, gang.